What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. Couple other things around the NFL. You guys know where I stand on Anthony Richardson and the Daniel Jones situation. One, I wouldn't want either one of these quarterbacks. But I've seen this song and dance before. We just saw it a couple years ago with Trey Lance. Draft a guy high, clearly not working out. The players on the team aren't behind it. You bring in another guy, it's over. Not even when training camp starts. And the coaches and the GMs can say whatever they want. This ended the moment they gave Daniel Jones $14 million. It was his job to lose. Just like in the example I've used with the 49ers, the moment they signed Sam Darnold, Trey Lance wasn't even going to be the second string quarterback anymore with the 49ers. And that's the way it played out. Now, Trey Lance ended up getting traded to the Cowboys. I think it would be more difficult to trade Anthony Richardson, given that he's currently injured. But same type deal. And now that he has an injury that dates back to the shoulder injury in 2023, which knocked him out for the season, it's clearly not good. And sometimes you have a shoulder injury at quarterback position. Happened to Cam. And he was never the same. I mean, Cam in his heyday, never the most accurate passer, but was like, I'm trying to think of a closer that throws 103 miles an hour. I mean, just had a bazooka. And then those last couple years with Carolina and then definitely for the Patriots, his arm was a shell of itself. And I'm no doctor, didn't go to medical school, but I know shoulder injuries when it comes to quarterbacks, fatigue and soreness, especially at a young age. It's one thing, it's like, you know, like when Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or some of these Roethlisberger, some of these guys in their mid to late 30s need a day off or a couple days off or totally understandable. It's another thing to be under 25 years old. You should be fresh as a daisy. You should be able to throw an unlimited amount of footballs. And it's like, yeah, it's hurting. I'm in pain. So listen, totally understand why they swung for the fences. I commend and admire that mindset. I think it's the right mindset to have. And just as like when Aaron Judge hits a walk-off 3-run home run, he's swinging for the fences. Sometimes you don't even make contact and you strike out and you go back to the dugout and put your shit together and you head home. And I think that's what we have to acknowledge. Chris Ballard swung for the fences on this one and he didn't make contact. He whiffed. Derek Carr, I don't pretend to quite know everything that's going on here. Clearly, it got weird with the Saints. I do think Derek has shown over the course of his career he's a high character guy. But I do think it's kind of easy to say. He made some comments essentially saying that, you know, part of the reason he retired is he didn't want to get surgery and just collect a bunch of money for the Saints and do nothing. His actions spoke louder than his words. He gave the Saints, I think, $10 million back, which he could have collected if he had just gotten the surgery. But I do think he knew, whether he was healthy or not, that Kellen Moore did not want him, that this new coaching staff wanted no part of him. Now, he's made comments about that his career is really over. We'll see. And it'll be interesting, like, does he get surgery? Or was it one of those where, like, if you're just a normal citizen, it's like, yeah, you could get your MCL feels a little weird. You could get surgery or you could also just live through it. And most human beings try to avoid surgery at all times. Like, obviously, to play football, you need to get work done. But it's like, yeah, you get surgery right now. You're probably not playing golf for a while. Probably aren't just enjoying your family and hanging out this summer. So maybe he doesn't get surgery. And to me, if you don't get surgery, it probably truly ends his career. And that's what all signs point to right now. The NBA Finals are here, and this is your last chance to bet on the NBA until next season. And the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is pulling out all the stops to make it a finals to remember. One team will be crowned the champ, and the other will be lost to history. Who you got winning it all? Obviously, everyone's picking the Thunder. Not going to lie, don't hate dabbling a little on the Pacers. 5-1 to win the series. It's the NBA Finals. They just destroy the 1 seed, the Cavs, work the Knicks. I think people are sleeping on the Pacers a little bit. I get the Thunder are good, but I think people are underrating the Pacers. All season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props, and that doesn't stop now. Who you got carrying their team to the chip? Try placing a bet on your personal MVP to drop 30, 40, or 50. I would expect obviously Shea, but definitely Halliburton to have some big games. Ready to place your first bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, lock in your bets, and finish the season as a winner. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5, win 300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Don't miss your last chance to bet on the NBA season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN for new customers to get 300 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. The other thing that we had talked about a couple weeks ago, that Kyle Pitts was like holding out because he wanted a new contract. Turns out he was actually injured. But there are a bunch of rumors that teams have called and trying to trade for him. To me, there's enough smoke with this situation. If Pitts is healthy, he is not going to be on the Atlanta Falcons. And I think it's one of those where a team that really liked him in the draft can get him for like a fifth round pick. Now, part of it is because of his contract. It ends after this season, and he's expensive. He almost makes $11 million for a guy catching less than 50 balls. But there is definitely going to be a team that thinks like, listen, we had this guy rated as a top 5, top 10 pick in the draft a couple years ago. We have seen guys like this. Darren Waller's a good example of like when Darren Waller really got it figured out for a couple years with Gruden and the Raiders, he was an elite player. And I think people will look at Kyle Pitts kind of in that mold. Is Kyle Pitts going to block? Of course not. But that's not what we're trading him for. And someone that has the cap space, like, yeah, I'll give a fifth or sixth round pick. Because I think at the end of the day, that's all that Atlanta would end up fetching for him.